Greetings. I am sitting on my toilet, and you don't need to know what's going on down here, but yeah, you don't want to know. um, um, we'll just keep that a mystery. Um, so, check it out. America was basically ground zero for the the biblical Great Flood. The biblical Great Flood. Um, there are what's known as the Carolina Bays, which and they're all oriented in a way that points towards an area in, like, northern Canada, that is where they uh, presume a asteroid meteor struck, and then like big gobs of ice. There's like glaciers there. Big gobs of ice came and impacted the soft land where the Carolina Bays are, and it made like little ovals, depressions in the land that had a pointed where the debris came from, and so and so that meteor was hot, obviously, when it hit the the glaciers and shit, the ice cap, and it melted all that shit very quickly. And so that's what's responsible for what's known as the Scablands. And yeah, the Scablands, just look it up yourself. Just is a fuck ton of water just that caused these features that are only explainable with a fuck ton of water. But they wanted to try to say that these features were over the course of like millions of years, but it's pretty obvious it was like one catastrophic event, and that is what the catastrophic event was. That's the Carolina Bays and the Scablands both support each other there, and then the Bible also supports. It's all evidence for the same thing, as well as in San Francisco, the sand that's there under the Golden Gate Park and even above it, that you can still see in the historical imagery on Google Earth now. So all these things are supporting evidence that the biblical Great Flood was a real thing. Now, there are elephants in Africa. There aren't large pachyderms, I think, what are they called? Pachyderms? But there aren't large animals like that anywhere else except Africa. We got the giraffes, we got the elephants, and even like the hippopotamuses, or the those water buffaloes and shit. Like all those big critters are in Africa, but all those types of big megafauna, I think, yeah, megafauna, died out in North America, because that was ground zero for that event. And so it did affect the whole world, but just not so bad in Africa. That's why those megafauna still exist there today. So that side of the world was less fucked up than the other side. Now, like, that fits perfect, because when we came from Europe to the New World, those people were still primitive. They were blasted back to the Stone Age. They were primitive, but that's why the Europeans had the leg up, because they didn't get quite as fucked up as the Americas did, and so that's why they were more advanced when they came over, and um 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 that's that. Now, so there's a bunch of gold mines in South Africa that are ancient, yeah, ancient gold mines, and uh, 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 and then so basically in South America, in North America, and also up in super North America, like the Eskimos, the Native Americans, and then the South American and the Mexicans. They're, they all have a very similar um, genotype, or whatever. they're different, but not by a whole lot. They're somewhat consistent throughout all of the Americas. The way the people, their characteristics genetically are. There's a lot of congruency there. Uh, um, now, but it's not like that elsewhere. Like so, in Africa we got sub-Saharan Africa, and then we got like the modern Egyptians, uh, and then above that we got like the pasty white folk. So it's like there's like shades there that go from north to south, right? Like white mixed and then black, you know. And so there's and then you go out to the east, and then we got all the Asians. So it's like we got Mexican Eskimos, Native Americans in the Americas. We got white mixed and black in the European African area, and then we got Asians and Hindu and Mongolians in the other area. And so it's like, um, um, well, that's just what we're working with. That's that's the genetic makeup of the world regionally, and I don't really I have an idea, but I'm not going to really divulge it right now. I'm just trying to figure out why it looks like that, like what was going on there, to cause these things. Um, so I'm not even going to touch that anymore. But this video was mostly about the the Great Flood and why it was more primitive. So the Native Americans, they said that there was a society that was what they came from, that it was too haughty, too like the phoenix that flew too close to the sun, and and they're like it was an experiment that we don't want to try again, and so they were deliberately living like that to avoid the wrath of the gods, essentially. Like they didn't want to do the same kind of economic structure that they had before, and so uh, well, basically that's kind of where we are today, though. We are poised to repeat the same thing that happened then now, but but and the Bible says that there's going to be wheat and the chaff are going to be separated, and that there's going to be basically an Armageddon, but also a paradise on earth, like live forever, and uh, with God coming to be like our ruler or whatever, and for 1,000 years of like some golden age awesomeness. But there's also an Armageddon that's talking about. So it's like, well, what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be all this like fire and brimstone and like gnashing of teeth and sulfur and shit, or is it gonna be like lions that are eating grass that you can you know play with, and then like you know being youthful forever and no sickness, or no crying, no pain and suffering, and former things have passed away. Like, what's it going to be? It talks about basically two different things, like one that's super awesome and one that's super depressing, and so it's and so that the point is that is the wheat and the chaff being separated. The wheat are going to go to a timeline where it's paradise on earth, and the chaff are going to experience what the Native Americans said that they went through, because that basically was a one full cycle's, that was the last cycle. This is a new cycle. There's nothing new under the sun. Same shit's always happening. The same story is always playing out. in different ways. And so Donald Trump, is the same soul as Julius Caesar. Um, and and Trump was born during a lunar eclipse, and that is a auspicious sign that implies a leadership role, and obviously it was true for him. Um, now, anyway, we're just at a point in history where it kind of matters what you do, why you do it, and what your intentions are. Like if you're positive or negatively oriented, that's gonna kind of matter a lot. If the glass is half full or half empty, that's gonna kind of matter a lot. If you're worried about the way your peers uh, see you, or if you're worried about impressing your peers rather than just following your heart, these things are going to be more important now than they ever have been before. And um, um, you know, I hope that you're not just assuming this is a bunch of crazy talk from some weird Jesus freak, because this is serious as a heart attack. It's yeah, it's very important. My channel is not getting uh, any any respect at all, any appreciation at all. Please help me fix that by sharing the videos that you like, because there's something wrong there. It shouldn't be this pitiful with this much important and groundbreaking content on it. There's a problem. Help me fix it, please.